On this World Refugee Day, the State Department is calling out Thailand and Malaysia for their failures to meet minimum standards in their fights to end human trafficking, an issue that impacts at least 20 million people around the globe. It's all part of the department's annual assessment of 188 governments worldwide, something Secretary Kerry said deserves attention despite other international conflicts.
Even as we know that Iraq is in trouble and we're dealing with conflict still in Afghanistan and other places, that's no reason to back off. It's no reason to turn away. There is no excuse for not pursuing all of these things. We have the ability to multitask. We have the ability to stay focused. And in the end, they're all connected, because the networks that fund terrorists are the same networks that permit people to move this kind of money illicitly around the world.
And joining me now is U.S. Ambassador at Large Louis Siribaka, who directs the State Department's Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons, as well as Beatrice Jedi-Agba, Executive Secretary of Nigeria's National Agency for Prohibition of Traffic in Persons, who was also honored with a Hero Award from Secretary Kerry today. Nice to visit with you. Congratulations. Ambassador, thank you for joining us as well. I want to get a sense from you right out of the gates as we look at this, and this is one thick text that you guys have, why it's so important to rank these countries.
Well, one of the things that we've seen is that this fight against human trafficking of modern slavery is going up against a very entrenched and very wealthy opponent. This is a $150 billion U.S. market a year, the profits to the traffickers. And so
$150 billion U.S. market?
No, this is, $150 billion globally.
Right, okay,
U.S.
try and clarify.
Sorry. So what we see is that is the equivalent of a country or an entire segment of the economy. So there's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of power at stake. So one of the things that we've done, and we look at our own fight against trafficking as well, is that we're having to confront the governments of the world so that they step up against this economic scourge.
Well, so let me ask you about two of those governments. The U.S. has in essence blacklisted Thailand and Malaysia here now. So what potential consequences do those countries face?
Well, over the next 90 days, the president will be looking, per the trafficking law, as to whether or not U.S. assistance, and that can be economic assistance, military assistance, foreign assistance in all of its forms, should be restricted to the countries that are on Tier 3. And there are those two countries, but then there are a number of the other ones as well. And one of the things that we'll be balancing is, on the one hand, how do we call out the countries that need to do more on human trafficking, but at the same time support them in their fight. And there are good actors in both Malaysia and Thailand who need our support.
Beatrice, I want to ask you specifically, you're receiving this honor on a day that we are also hearing from people in Africa today, in Nigeria specifically, that 57 of those young Nigerian schoolgirls have been reunited, have been returned to their families. But strikingly, of those kidnapped girls, more than 200 of them remain missing right now. So what is going on at this time in that country to help find these young women, these girls?
Well, the circumstances there is an extraordinary one. You understand that the terrorists have taken over the entire area, and so it's mainly military operation at the moment. There's very little information being given in order not to compromise the security of the girls. But NAPTIP has been working with the families of the victims quietly to provide them with psychosocial support, and the girls who have been rescued also have access to our staff who are helping them to resettle, and then to try to go through or overcome the trauma that obviously they have been through in the last few weeks. This
is also obviously a story that's disappeared from the headlines in recent weeks, given so many other crises taking place around the world. But one thing was striking to me. Some of our colleagues at NBC News completed an analysis of reports from that region and found, as they reported, that at least 1,000 lives have been taken by Boko Haram in what they describe as the deadliest killing spree by a single terrorist group since the September 11 attacks. It's easy for this to get lost for people on this end of the world, but this is a genuine crisis. What are we failing to do that needs now to be done?
Well, the government is taking proactive steps now, working with foreign governments around the world to try to find out what the root causes of these terrorist attacks are. The military has made some modest successes, but don't forget this is asymmetrical warfare, and so the terrorists would always hit at the very soft end of the population. So you can't have military everywhere, and so they just attack. It's mindless. bloodletting, sorry. And we, the government, has tried so much to try to engage them, even in terms of trying to dialogue with them to find out what's going on and why they're doing what they're doing, but obviously they have nothing really. It's just the ideological, extreme religiosity, which is why they are just embarking on these mindless killings.
Beatrice Jediagba, we appreciate what you do and appreciate your visiting with us today. Again, congratulations to you. Ambassador Sidibaka, thanks so much as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.